And welcome to the Lindy Sports Report, coming to you live from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. Tonight's game had the Vanderbilt Commodores coming to Columbia to take on the South Carolina Gamecocks in a key SEC Eastern Division game. The game was a hard-fought game, to say the least, and this game may be under further review with all the penalties that were thrown tonight and the ones that were not thrown. Vanderbilt was tagged tonight with 10 penalties for over 100 yards, while the Gamecocks had 7 penalties for over 60 yards. Again, a lot of flags could have been thrown, a lot of flags should have been thrown, a lot of flags should not have been thrown. And Commissioner Greg Steinke was here tonight and looked rather concerned on the sidelines as he watched some of the key plays that had penalties should have not been called. The bottom line was a great game tonight as the South Carolina Gamecocks held on and won tonight's ball game 34-27 against a very hungry Vanderbilt team. Vanderbilt took the opening kickoff and marched down the field on a 75-yard drive and quickly took a 7-0 lead before the South Carolina Gamecocks answered back with a 75-yard drive of their own to tie the score at 7-all. The Gamecocks tonight were led by A.J. Turner in rushing tonight as A.J. went over 100 yards and has put together back-to-back games for the Gamecocks. But the surprise rusher tonight was Jake Bentley, who had 6 carries tonight for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns and added a new dimension to the South Carolina offense. Also, big games tonight as far as the receiving core with Shi Smith with 5 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. Hayden Hurst got a little bit more involved in the offense as he had 4 catches for 31 yards. Also had a couple of carries, though. But when it came down to the very end of the game, the South Carolina defense had to come up with a big stand with a little over a minute to go to get the offense the ball back, and then they were able to run out the clock. The important thing is the South Carolina Gamecocks moved to 6-2 overall and now become bowl eligible. And there were several bowls. The Champ City Bowl was here tonight, along with the Belk Bowl and a few others here watching the Gamecocks and Vanderbilt play. But the Gamecocks now have punched their ticket to the postseason. But Will Muschamp basically said that was no big deal to him. He didn't even mention it in the locker room after the game. The Gamecocks have bigger things on their mind right now. They're still in the race in the SEC East, but next week will be a huge game when they go down to take on the Georgia Bulldogs, who demolished Florida today by the score of 42-7. South Carolina, again, playing well right now, is the number 2 team in the Eastern Division right now, and they'll be facing the possible number 2 ranked Georgia Bulldogs next week in Athens in a key ball game, though. But the Gamecocks were able to come out of the game after a bye week relatively injury-free. No major injuries tonight. They're starting to get healthy. It actually looked good when I was on the field after the game walking around, seeing Deebo Samuel with no cast walking around. Still yet to be seen if he will make his way back before the season's over, though. But a good effort tonight. The Gamecocks ran 66 plays for 386 yards while giving up 72 plays for 440 yards. But where it all matters was on the scoreboard, and South Carolina comes away with a 34-27 SEC victory. Their 4th victory. They are now 4-2 in conference play, and thus guaranteed that they cannot finish the season any worse than 500 in the East. That's a big accomplishment, though. South Carolina, again, on the road next week to Georgia. That'll be a big ball game. Reporting for Lindy Sports, I am the coach, Dick Cox.